Welcome to Hashtag with Navguzi Chwanuka. This is a place where we help you unravel social constructs, discuss self-development in line with mental health, emotional well-being, and everything in between that directly or indirectly affects us in the millennial world around us. If you're hearing my voice for the first time and are the kind of person who is not scared of being a better version of yourself even if it requires you to contradict who you were 24 hours ago, consider this your virtual home. I'm your host, Navguzi Chwanuka, and I cannot wait to engage with you in the various conversations. For our 91st episode, we have the multi-hyphenate Denis Wonyala, also known as Dennis Duke. Denis is, among other things, a journalist, proprietor of the Duke's Farm and the newly opened Sungura House. Denis's ability to spread his wings as wide as he can and where he draws his inspiration to do so are some of the things we tackle in this episode. The episode is full of great insights and gems you wouldn't want to miss out. And if anything resonates with you during our conversation, remember to share with us on social media with the hashtag HTNK in station. Here's our episode. Denis Duke, welcome to Hashtag with Navguzi Chwanuka.
Thank you for having me around.
For someone that does not know who Denis Duke is, help them understand.
My name is Denis Wonyala, born of Mbale, but originally from Bulambuli district. That's where my ancestral home is. But I was born, raised in Mbale. I am a Mugisu. I'm a father of 3, a married man. Yeah, and a businessman. I don't know if I can claim that, but yeah, I'm doing a couple of things business-wise. A journalist, a proud one. So I'm a father, a farmer, content creator, a YouTuber, an entrepreneur. That's basically me.
You're a cocktail of so many things.
Very, very many. And there are more to come.
There's a lot more to come. Absolutely. I mean, you're talking about music.
Yeah. Music, acting. I'm an actor, actually.
Oh, yes. I've seen you talking about the movie and calling people to show up for it. Have you always been this kind of person?
I think my upbringing has made me become the person I am because survival then meant that you needed to be creative. Creative in the sense that you needed to do a couple of things to see that you make ends meet. As a person who did not grow up with my biological parents, it was a little bit challenging because there are certain things you couldn't afford to get. And that meant that you needed to really work hard to get them. So through that, I thank God that He's really made me creative. I don't look at things the way people look at them. When I see something, I analyze it. I look at the opportunity. Even in bad times, I always see an opportunity. Like the world was being hit with COVID. Me, I know there are people who benefited. There are those that lost. So you cannot say something is bad entirely. There's always going to be an opportunity from it. So my upbringing has made me become the person I am today. Probably if I had all my parents, I'm not saying it's something I'm proud of, that they are not there. But again, I'm proud of who I have become because if they were there, probably I'm imagining again that I would be Ngabankuza Chejo. It's a Luganda word. I don't know how to put that in English.
Oh, I think they just simply put it as spoiled.
Yeah, I'll be a spoiled kid because I'm stubborn. I would, and again, I compare myself to kids that I grew up with. I mean, majority of them have not reached even a quarter of where I am because they had parents. So Baba Kuzane Chejo. If somebody say, well, there are no jobs. Yes, I know there are no jobs. So what? We've got to come out there and we conquer the world. It's about the mental capacity. I always say that it starts from how you think. Right. The moment you start thinking, oh, I've been bewitched, trust me, that's who you're going to become.
You've thrown it out to the universe.
Yeah. But the moment you come out and say, I'm going to fight, I'm going to do this is going to happen, trust me, you're going to see that come to pass. Yeah.
What did you want to be growing up?
While growing up, there are 2 things that I wanted to be. I think I always wanted to be at the forefront of the camera, in front of the camera.
Did you have cameras?
I didn't have cameras. But like I said, right from school, I was always involved in MDD, music, dance, and drama. And then I was always representing my school in different competitions. So I was at the forefront of everything. I always wanted to lead, in simple terms, not as a politician, but to lead in whatever discipline I was in. So while growing up, I wanted to be a journalist and then I wanted to be a musician. Those 2 things. Again, as you grow, goals change, goalposts change. And I keep telling people that life is not about what you want it to be. It's about what the world has thrown over to you. use that and change the situation around you. I'm not saying don't pursue your dreams. No. There are people who've pursued their dreams and they are fine. They feel they've reached whatever they are, but life is what you make. And I wanted to be a journalist on TV, radio and all that. Again, becoming a TV person came up later. Initially, I just wanted to be on radio, like radio DJ.
But radio didn't have the cameras bit.
Yeah. It didn't have. Like as I grew up, eventually things started to change. So I wanted to be a musician and then I wanted to be a media personality. But as I was growing up, I realized you don't need to go to school to become a musician. It's about talent or something. So I said, now I go to school to become a musician. Let me find something that is within this. So that's when I start my journalism journey. Like now let me think of this. Let me think of journalism. And after a few years...
How many are those? I was actually going to ask
8 or 7 as a journalist. I am
8?
now... Yeah. I'm now not I'm not doing the mainstream journalism. I'm doing journalism backdoor, like content, that's journalism. Interviewing people, that's still part of journalism. But I think it's a skill that I got from then that I'm using now. So right now, if I told somebody, hey, I'm actually a farmer, I'm like, you're a farmer? Like, like how is that even making you a living? You understand?
Oh.
Yeah, like people like, you're a farmer. Like every time I go to an event and like people are introducing, I work with Centenary Bank, I work with so-and-so bank, I work with this media house. And I'm like, I'm a farmer. Everybody looks at me like, you're a farmer. Like, is that the best you can do? And I'm like, yeah. It's what is bringing food to the table. However, I never imagined I would do that because yes, while growing up, we were doing farming, but on a small scale farming. I didn't think it would become something that I would do later on or major on in life. I didn't go to school, but here we are. I'm a farmer. I never imagined that.
Yeah,
Isn't that answering your question?
It is.
From office jobs to touching soil and taking care of dung, animals and all that. Many people, many journalists, they retire or they leave journalism to go do probably public relations or in the communications department, regardless of the company. So that's what they usually do. Or they go into NGOs or they start up their own companies. And I was like, okay, I could be different. And trust me, I'm finding it awesome.
And you're here. You left journalism. Okay, you're saying that content creation should be looked at in the category of journalism? Absolutely.
Every journalist who doesn't look at content creation as part of them is entirely doing it wrong. And now that things are changing, they really need to think beyond just working on TV. I'm not saying it's bad. All I'm saying is they need to look beyond. There's quite a lot I could talk about that.
I feel like when you talk about the beat of retirement and how people usually go into PR because it's part of communication, I'm looking at you and asking, so does he look at himself as someone that retired?
Okay. I may have brought it in that format. Well, I retired not entirely like I'm done with journalism. No, I just took a break. The reason as to why I took a break could be explained. But answering your question, if a chance came up, definitely something that I find comfortable doing and it's well paying, I would grab it and do it. In fact, I'm looking at probably maybe next year I should give it a shot, do something, but not like the way I used to do back then, where I used to work from morning till late. No, I can no longer do that. I can't.
Oh, you have so much on your plate.
I have a lot that I want to do. I have a lot that I'm currently doing. So I cannot take up a job that takes, even if 12 hours of my day. No, I can only take, if at all it takes like 3 or 4. That's understandable.
And we're now looking at Sungura House.
Yep.
Sungura, is it in your language?
Sungura, in my language, it's called Sunguda.
Sungura.
Katu use. You see, Bagisu have different dialects, unfortunately.
I was surprised.
That's a story that a lot of people don't know yet. But as Bagisu, we have different dialects. There are those that speak, they speak Lumasaba, which is commonly known as Lugisu. But the Lugisu is a little bit different from one another. But we all tend to understand or hear another, okay? So part of that language, they call rabbit Katuyu.
Katuyu.
Yeah, but while growing up in my area, we used to call it Sunguda. Sunguda, yes, with a D. Then Sungura House Sungura is a Kiswahili word for rabbit.
Nice.
Exactly. So because I'm a farmer, I am into rabbits and now going into goats and later sheep. We're going to advance like as time goes on because again, I took it as an investment, as a business. So anything that involves money, you don't just invest. You need to take some time as you learn, you know. So the fact that I was into rabbit farming, I teamed up with somebody who I had the idea before, but you know, is it called procrastinating, something like that?
Procrastination.
Yes, I know. I'm
Can
not
you
very
say
good
it?
Let's not say that word, but they've had it. Yes, I was having that kind of, you know.
Yes.
So I was like, should I do this? Shouldn't I do it? So I got a colleague of mine, he's not Ugandan. So he said, oh, Denis, since you're into this, don't you think you can do this? We can find a way of doing it. I was like, oh, by the way, and then here we are. The birth of Sungura. Initially, we had wanted to give it a different name. We went to URSB where we registered companies from, and unfortunately, the name had been taken off. So we wanted to localize rabbit.
Yeah.
And we wanted a name that could speak not just to Ugandans, but to the region. If I took Sungura to Kenya, they will ably recognize.
That's right.
If I took it to Tanzania, they will do the same. So when we sat down with my team, Sungura was the best name we chose. And so we said, oh, cool, Sungura House. So it's a house where a person comes and eats rabbit meat in all different forms.
Why rabbit? I feel like it's really random. Like, what?
Why rabbit is everybody's doing chicken. Everybody's doing, sorry for my Muslim brothers and sisters, pork.
Yeah.
And everybody's doing goat. But not everybody's doing rabbit.
Is there
How many
anyone doing
restaurants
it?
do you know?
Is there anyone doing it?
How many restaurants do you know?
None. The first time, let me tell you, the first time I heard of rabbit meat, I was in Rwanda. And I tested it, but because of, I'm very sorry guys, because of the Rwandans cooking, I'm not sure I'm not sure I got the right feel.
The fact that you've just heard about Sungura as being the first rabbit restaurant, that means we are just a month old, but you can feel the vibe already. Imagine 2 years from now, will be a global thing. So there are a couple of other rabbit restaurants that are doing it locally. But again, our approach is different. Their approach is different. I do appreciate the fact that they came in before us. Now we want to change the market. You know, we are not giving them competition because we are serving totally different audiences. Our target customer base is different from theirs. But we do appreciate the effort and the contribution they're putting onto the industry in trying to help people understand that just the same way we keep chickens at home, we keep rabbits, the same way we eat chicken at home, we can actually eat rabbits. I've had a very huge, conversation, people tagging me left, right, and center. People saying, oh, we shouldn't eat rabbits.
Yeah.
They're beautiful pets. I'm like, yeah, they really look nice. But imagine how nice they look. That's how interesting their meat is. As a matter of fact, again, to answer your question, why rabbit is because rabbits they're the best white meat you can ever get.
Oh, it's white meat?
Yes, that's white meat.
I didn't even know that.
It's low in fats, low in cholesterol, but very rich in protein. I think rabbits are the only animals, if I'm not mistaken, that have a high conversion rate when it comes to the foods you give them, plus the nutrients they reserve into their bodies. So that's why we choose rabbits.
That is very scientific. High conversion rate. Jesus.
Exactly. So that's the birth of
Sungura House. I'll be giving people a review. I'm looking at my meal right now because he carried it for me.
Trust me, you love it. Not that because I sell it, but because of the reviews that people have given us. I hope and pray that you equally meet.
I'm hopeful. I've been looking forward to it. So your experience in journalism and what is happening right now with the mainstream media, what was your experience or what is your experience of it?
Experience can be defined both positive and negative. I must say, journalism is the best job in the entire world.
The best job?
It's the best job.
Tell me about the bit of the best job.
The best job in the whole world because you meet almost everyone. From the top to the bottom. You meet the presidents. I've had an interface with the president. Like he was just seated the way you were seated there, a few inches, and I was just standing here.
What did that feel like?
Yeah, I've seen the main man. You get to meet people of high class. You associate with people of high class in society, the generals, PROs of different big companies. Like when you're a journalist, you can enter anywhere. People give you, like they open doors for you. You have gone to best hotels across the region. I have met celebrities. I've eaten some of the good posh meals in these hotels. So away from that, it gives you connections, you know.
Right.
That's the best part of it. That's why I say it's the best job in the entire world.
There's a lot of networking that happens.
Networking. And then for some of us who love traveling, journalism gives you exactly that.
Oh, yes.
I've traveled entirely the whole of Uganda. I even got an opportunity to go to Somalia.
Ooh.
Guns and bombs and all that. So that's a positive experience that I probably got. I've had people go to Iraq. I've had people go to South Africa. Free of charge. You don't pay anything.
Right.
That's the beauty. Those are the positive, you know. But also I've grown as a person. It gives you an opportunity to learn about a lot of things because as a journalist, you're supposed to be all round. The only thing that I refused to learn was sports. I personally don't like sports. And it's very funny that it was my first assignment, my first job at WBS. They gave me a sports segment.
Right from childhood, nothing.
I don't, even now.
No, but here you are. You want to run for the Olympics.
Yeah, but
it's sporty.
It's sports, but I don't watch football.
Right.
Yeah. Again, it's sports. I can say I enjoy maybe people running, people doing, but the sports that majority of the world knows is about, you know, Arsenal playing with Chelsea. And unfortunately, fortunately, that's the first job I got, to be a sports journalist, a sports reporter. And
What was that like?
Of course, I took it on because I had no option. I was coming fresh from school, no experience, no nothing. We've been given an opportunity. Like I said, I'm one person, whatever is thrown at me, I take it positively, even when it's negative. So I picked it up from then when I was working at WBS. I was the sports reporter and then anchor. And yeah, I did it until when I actually left.
The bit of the negative side, I think.
Yes,
that's where we're going to jump into. And with this, I'm looking at it from two angles. As a journalist in the field and as someone that consumes what is given to us. What has been your negative experience?
I was still telling you that as a person, you get to learn a lot of things. Before I left, I was almost becoming a doctor for some reason.
Oh.
A doctor, like a medical doctor.
How?
Why? Because I'd reported a lot on health stories. So if you ask me about diabetes, I would comfortably tell you there are two types. There's type A or type 1, type 2, I would explain to you like a medical person. Of course, I would not dispense drugs because that's a bit technical, but at least I knew I had gotten at least information from doctors because of the series of interviews I had with them.
Right. So
again, it helps us learn a couple of things as human beings. That's why we become moving encyclopedia. I've always had a friend of mine called Bule. He just says people need to read a lot, and of course I do agree with him. While in school, Barley Francis, we had an opportunity of him being our lecturer. He used to tell us, you see, for you to become a journalist, you need to do a lot of expansive reading. Expansive reading helps you develop your mental, you're always informed, you're always ahead of other people, because you could go in society and say, oh, good thing a journalist is here. I'm a Denis. What is this and that?
Right.
When you actually don't know, you embarrass yourself. So journalism as a whole has taught us that, like, you've learned, if there was a case in court that was really prominent, I started learning the jargons, the stuff that is used in court because I'm reporting in court. Like, you're taught to be an all-round person. If I went into a village where people are naked, I don't see them as different. All I see is a certain class of people. They have their own behavior, and that's what I'm here to report about.
Yeah.
Even when I find it uncomfortable, I've got to look comfortable with it, because then that's when they associate with you, that's when they'll give you information. So it makes you become an all-round person. You can fit in any society of the world, and that's something good. The negative side is, well, if you went into journalism for money, there's no money. Trust me.
Hey, man, there was a thing that went on. Which year was it? The Twitter threads that kept coming in.
From
the 50K saga.
The 50K saga. Yeah, and 50K is on the high meanwhile.
Oh.
Yes.
Like, even now, 2022?
Even 2022. I remember I used to do some stories that were paid 20,000 Uganda shillings.
Hold up. When you say that you're doing stories, what is that like?
Stories are news stories.
Yeah, like you
go to the
these
field.
People?
Yes, you're reporting news.
So for every report, these people will say, reporting from Masaka, you're given 20.
Yes, madam.
Wait, so it's not like a monthly salary?
So Payments in journalism are in 2 formats or 3 formats, or in different ways. One is you're paid per what you do. You're paid per story. So everybody, again, these are some of the things that have reduced our journalism, the lowest level ever, because people are paid peanuts. I can't fail to say that on air. People are paid peanuts, and because of that, people have to look for ways of survival. So if I am paid per story, you don't expect me to dedicate my entire time on a story to fully develop it, because I'm in a rush to make stories meet so that I can meet my financial monthly demands. I don't know if you get the point.
I do.
I'll do stories for the sake of doing, but not doing them entirely. I'm not saying every journalist does that, but majority of them do, unfortunately. Right. Because financially, it doesn't make sense for you to make 5 stories in a month when you're paid probably each story at 20,000. That's about
100,000.
Exactly. I would want to probably make like maybe 30 or 40 or 50, stories, or 60, so that I can equally earn 1 million shillings a month.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what's the other form? And
then the other form, people are just paid a salary. You'll realize that most of them don't even reach 1 million. They give them 300, 400, 500, 600, 700. And those are the people that they've just not put it into the system. But the fourth estate is a very key instrument in the development of any country. Journalists carry a lot to do the development of a country. If these are the stories that we're going to make on a daily, imagine the kind of country. As a matter of fact, the media sets the trend for our country. We do that. So what kind of trends are we going to set for the future generations? Definitely very bad ones. So the quality of journalism in Uganda keeps on going down. Except for a few media houses that have now started appreciating journalists, giving them as many opportunities to earn as possible.
Do you think it's just in Uganda, or is it a problem?
Well, comparing it to the region, we are all fairly not doing fine, except, of course, other countries like Kenya, probably Tanzania, that I beat on the high end as opposed to Uganda. In Uganda, actually, I'll tell you that journalists work for free in Uganda. Those TVs, some of those, pastors exploit journalists. Yes. Those majority pastors, I can't, again, I know I have some pastor friends, but they're exploiting journalists. And also you don't blame them. They use what is available. There's high youth unemployment. So when somebody gives you an opportunity, even if they're not paying you, they feel like, wow, they've done a lot for you.
Exposure.
Exactly. So thank you. They use that. They say, we're exposing you. We are giving you airtime to say a platform. Exactly. So they use that to exploit people. Forgetting that we have bills to pay, we have children to take care of, and so forth and so on. So Ugandans are being exploited. And it's not just actually in the media. Everywhere. I'm very surprised to see that a very huge reputable company pays 500K to somebody who's doing work. And I'm like, 500K? That's even less than $200.
Yeah.
That's less than $200. Like, Jesus, that's very little money for a lot of work that somebody is doing. So I think our government needs to go back to the drawing table. Look at the labor law and try to set a minimum standard for payment, and then try to make that system work here in Uganda so that people are not paid overly less. That's the downside, really.
And as a consumer, mainstream media.
As a consumer, wow, Ugandan media. I don't know elsewhere, but Ugandan media, I think we are growing. Every day we are growing. I need to appreciate that, because I don't want people to say, we are growing as a country, but there are a couple of things that we need. And like we're having a conversation earlier, while it's true we need to give people what is happening in society, we need to do a lot more of good journalism.
Good journalism.
You see, Africa is Africa in Africa, but to the West, it's some rubbish country somewhere or continent elsewhere. Like everything bad happens in Africa.
Yeah.
But there are so many beautiful things in Africa. There's Duke. There's, we are beautiful people in Africa.
Say yourself.
What I'm trying to say is there are beautiful things we can report about our country, our nation, that somebody out there would be like, wow, this is interesting. I love Bukede for one reason. They used to have, I don't know if they still do, because I stopped watching again, like I told you, news mostly during those peak hours because it's traumatizing as a person. But Bukede, when I was still there, even Urban TV, when I was still there, they used to have something like Uganda Zabu, something like that. They would show the beautiful Uganda. Exactly, something like that.
Yeah.
And for me, that was like, wow, this is a plus. At least from all the negative things, all the depressing news, somehow my mind can eventually relax as I go to bed. But majority of the TVs and the journalists, I mean, that's the selling things. I know that's the selling because, again, I don't want to contradict with what we're told in school, which involves the values of news. Must be breaking, it must be urgency.
It must be breaking. I was actually going to ask you.
If a dog bites a man, that's not news. But if a man bites the dog, that's news, you understand? So I don't want to disagree with that. But can we find ways of probably giving it to people in a more comforting than more alarming way? Bafude. Like, you're going to bed, like you said, at 10 and then
Yeah, I was very angry during the COVID time. I had already had these sentiments against mainstream media and how they package the news. And I don't have the skills. I don't want someone to come for me and ask me how. But it is 10 p.m. You are probably dealing with people in the house with so much anxiety about COVID and everything. They're going for the news, of course, because they need to know what's happening in the country or the world at large. And then news starts 10 p.m. Bibinyo. It is very bad. 2 people have been found with COVID. And you're like, are you serious?
I know.
2 people?
As a matter of fact, journalists or journalism is supposed to be informing people. We're supposed to inform people of what has happened. But how we deliver that information is exactly what needs to be changed somehow. We can find ways of striking a balance. If we have 3 or 4 bad news, let's have probably 3 or 4 good news. The best thing to do during those times of COVID was to just take water, hydrate, keep away from the news. Otherwise, you're going to die of pressure instead. You understand? So I have, in recent times, learned to... I don't know if that's the word, to control what I take in, to control what I see, to control what I hear. Okay? Otherwise, if you are to take everything that comes around, trust me, you're not gonna be mentally upright.
Yeah.
You're going to find a lot of problems.
People need to know that. Exactly. And for some reason, it's addictive.
Yeah.
You keep going back, you're like, okay, maybe something good happened. And then like something else is...
No, I just chose and said, no, I'm going to listen to news. I'm going to find news, but I'm going to read maybe. Go to Daily Monitor or go to New Vision and try to see if I see that this is not good for me. I scroll down. I have my phone. Just scroll down and see what I can stomach and what I cannot stomach.
Right.
Yes. Regulating myself. In the journalism space, I think I took a break because I had a lot of aspirations. I still do. But to be honest, I wasn't meeting my personal expectations. And I said, you see, let me branch off a little, I'll come back. In journalism, you can always catch up. Even at 40, you can always come and make your thing. It's not like other professions, like law, where you have to practice. For you to become a judge, you must have practiced probably like for 15 or 16 or 17 years to become a judge.
You have
or
to
a
be
chief
active.
justice or something like that. You must have been in the space for quite some time, accumulated this, amount of experience. No, in journalism it's different. I can come today and do my thing and blow up.
Like your personal thing without going to a media house?
No, what I mean is at the media house is what I'm talking about. Like I can go to any TV station, any radio station, and I blow up. I don't need to have worked for a very long time for people to know me. No. I come today. Within 6 months, you start hearing there's a Duke, at probably this media house or the other.
You didn't tell me the history of the name Duke.
The name Duke. Wow, interesting. So while in school, I was Woniala Denis, my real name. So I kind of felt Woniala was giving people a lot of difficulties.
Really?
In pronouncing it, yes. So I looked at, okay, which name can I use that is a bit simpler? And boom,
Duke
came up. And I've always believed that I'm different.
Yeah.
I've always believed so. And trust me, I am different because that's what I've always believed. And people see the difference. That's why they call me Duke. Like, oh, you're Duke. Are you a kind of Duke like Duke Williams or Prince William? I'm like, yeah, I am, because in the kingdom of God, we are sons and daughters of God.
We are not dukes though.
So, yeah.
We are not dukes in the kingdom of God.
We are princes of God, you know. Jesus is the Prince of Peace, isn't it?
He is.
So I am the Duke of God's Duke, something like that. But that's how the name comes around. It was because people had difficulties with the name Woniala.
Yeah.
So I had Denis Duke.
Now, you're going back to the dreams that you had. So journalism, we've talked about it.
Exactly.
You are promising us music. Because you talked about that as one of the things that you dreamed about and felt like, I can't study this.
So I remember one day when they asked what we wanted to be. I think I was in senior 1 or 2 or something there. What do you guys want to be in future? I think it was either our first class with our first teacher. So everybody was telling the class teacher, I want to be this, I want to be that. And I said, I want to be a musician. Like, wow, okay. So me, I thought maybe you go to a school, study and all that. Of course, you can actually do MDD.
Yes, you can.
Yeah. But even without MDD, you can become a musician.
You can.
Even without journalism, you can work on radio, but you can't be a journalist. Yeah. I needed to note that. You can't be a journalist, but you can work on radio, you can work on TV. It's about the talent. Now, me, I had both talent to work on TV and I had the qualifications because I did go to school. So that's when I started thinking of, but even before secondary, I was always in MDD, music, dance and drama. Used to do those folk songs, sing the
lead singer.
Exactly. And so forth and so like I was all involved in music, dance and drama. So I felt like I needed to sing until when the journalism calling overpowered the music. But again, during my days, I don't know, but we grew up in a setting that looked at musicians as spoiled people.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't something you'd tell
I think
your
even
dad.
now, I don't know what parents would perceive of it, but maybe it's not that bad.
Right now, it won't look bad because I'm a grown-up man. Anything I decide, they're okay with it.
No, I mean like for other parents, probably. Maybe you as a parent and you have your kids saying they want to be a musician.
They want to be a musician, I would support them.
I don't think we are still tied in that system.
No, we are no longer tied because after seeing different people do it and I've actually excelled. If my child came to me, in fact, they don't need to tell me. I'll be looking for talents in them and then try to nurture those talents. For you to become rich, you need to change your attitudes towards money, towards wealth. And how do you change your mentality towards money? You break the system. If you've been told that, for you to become successful, you need to study for about 18 years, or 18, or I don't know how many, you can count for me. But regardless, those many years in school, and then you graduate, and then start working, and then you start making money. No, that's not it. You will. My children will do all that society expects of them, but I'm going to change how they think, how they're going to do their thing. So if even before they tell me that they want to sing, I'll know that this child wants to sing. And I'll make sure that I help them nurture that so that by the time they are fully aware of themselves, they just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm good at managing talent because I have managed some other talents.
Oh, before. Yes, you have. And now here you are as should we call
an
it
upcoming artist.
Yeah.
Wow.
Do we call you that?
Every time I think of, look, I'm actually going to sing, I laugh at myself because everybody else around me is actually laughing at myself.
I thought it was a joke.
Wasn't a joke. I really want to give it a shot.
Initially, I thought it was a joke, and the way how you were talking about it. And I was just laughing, and then there are people coming up calling themselves Mutima Gwa Duke.
Facebook and social media is all about fun, creating the fun.
Yeah.
And the music is not that. You see, I want to do it, but not on tension. Not like, of course, if I'm investing in it, I'm a businessman. I expect to get something out of it. It's something I'm considering. I haven't fully decided that let me do this or the other, but it's something I am looking at. And also looking at managing different talents at a later stage, because I know there are a lot of people out there who have dreams and aspirations. They just need direction and guidance. That's what I'm going to do. I'm very saddened by our big musicians in the country because they are not creating space for young people, for young generation. I know you know Don Jazzy in Nigeria.
I do.
He's probably one of those that I can mention that has nurtured young talent.
He has done so much.
Yes. A lot of those young thriving artists right now in Nigeria are under him. And I think Bebe Cool, Bobby Wine, Chameleon, David Utalo, Eddie Kenzo could actually pick a leaf. I'm not saying they should stop doing what they are doing. All I'm saying is, can they create space for younger people to be guided? You see, these are the fathers, apparently, right now, of music, Ugandan music. Chameleon, 1990s, he was in Kenya with the Ogopa DJs, and they've done quite a lot, amazing stuff. How about now they teach young people how to do music, you know? So for me, that's what I'm envisioning.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And for someone who is doing so much, I would say, just in summary, like you're doing so much, what does self-development look like for you when you think about it?
Self-development in what?
Personal self-development.
I think it's an initiative. Like I said, I have people that I grew up with that are not even a quarter of where I am, or even not even looking at where I'm going. And that's something I don't take for granted. Thank God for it, because again, it's not by my might, it's not by my doing, it's by the grace of God that He gives me the wisdom to look at certain things in a certain way that probably makes me a different person. So personal development comes from personal initiatives. You need to set your goals. You need to understand what you want to be in life and then work towards that. I usually meet young people and I tell them, you see, taking alcohol is okay. It's your money. But to sit down and count the money you actually spent in alcohol in a year, you realize it's a huge money. Take alcohol occasionally, maybe on one weekend. Next weekend, just chill at home, So personal development starts with a personal initiative. And nobody will ever advise you to develop. They will never. No amount of word, no amount of advice can change a person. A person changes by themselves.
That's right.
Even if somebody listens to this podcast today, they won't change until they choose to change themselves. Of course, these words are just enablers. They kind of guide them. They kind of show them the way, you see, how life should be lived. Again, don't live your life basing on me. I'm a different person. I have different energy. Somebody once said, I just want to meet you. Tap into that energy because I'm everything. I'm in the farm. I'm a farmer. We didn't even talk about that. Yeah. I'm a farmer.
We talked about it a bit. You talked about being a farmer.
I'm a journalist. I want to become an entrepreneur. I'm not yet where I want to be. So I cannot call myself an entrepreneur now.
Right.
Because of these few things that we've set up a couple of years from now. But what I want to be a real entrepreneur. I want to sit somewhere and they mention a brand. You're like, oh, it's him, know? That's what I want to be. So until somebody discovers what they want to be, what they want to do with themselves, personal or self-development can never come to them. And like I told you in the beginning that for you to get money, you need to change your attitude. You need to change your attitude towards money. Look at it like a rich man. Don't just wake up and, sit at home and think, oh, maybe I'll get money. Of course, it's good to be hopeful. Change the attitude towards money. Money wants people who want it, okay? When you want it, it will eventually be attracted to you. I don't want to become a professor of sorts. But one thing
but it does make sense.
But one thing I've realized is ever since I made certain decisions in my life to think differently away from what people think, I think I've seen my life change for the better. And I cannot wait to be among the top 40 billionaires before I make 40 myself.
40 under 40.
Yeah. 40 under 40.
I'm waiting.
People who've made amazing stuff.
I'm really waiting.
My name should be there.
Yes, please.
Yes.
My goodness.
So people need to realize that. I'll tell you that when I left journalism, I had, of course, at that time it was the worst decision I've ever made.
When you left?
Yeah, when I left. Because look, everybody that I told I am quitting, they're like, Wanji, Denis, this can't be you.
Yeah.
You've lived this, like you've wanted this for a very long time. You've worked for this. Now you're there and then you're leaving. In fact, even yesterday I was talking to a friend. I was like, oh man, you left. I'm like, yeah, I had bigger dreams. Not that journalism is a small dream, but I had far, far much more dreams that needed concentration besides journalism. So it was the worst decision I made because I looked at myself as like, okay, I've been here enjoying these privileges. You go somewhere, people respect you,
Yeah.
And then you've been reduced to literally nothing.
Oh my goodness, you're bringing out, I don't know if you watched this guy say that. What's his name?
Kavshenga. It's the same thing that happened to me. In fact, I left before him. So, like I told you, I would call somebody in an office and say, oh, my name is Denis. I work with so-and-so. I want to get an ID printed. Like, oh, Denis, yes, come around. I don't even need to stand in the line. I wasn't standing in the line. I'll just go straight to their office. Oh, so officer so-and-so, can you work on Denis? He needs this. Within a few minutes, I'll tell you that getting my passport or some of those documentations, they didn't take me time. Just a mere phone call. My things were done. I just went and picked them because I was a journalist, you understand? But here, I was moving out of a media house and then reduced to literally nothing, but with a dream. So I went out there, worked. The first year was quite very hard, I'll tell you. Please don't quit your jobs before you get something going, okay?
Yeah.
I think the best advice I can give them is start up something before you immediately leave, okay? First try and see if it's moving, then you can quit. But don't quit without anything. Me, I quit without plan B.
And here you are.
All I had was
so
a dream.
I feel like someone can also do the same thing.
But trust me, what I went through, I wouldn't want anybody to go there. That's why I tell them, please, if need be, first create a safe landing before you leave. That was around 2019 when I left, and life was hard. And then from being jobless to COVID-19, now things really got crazy because I used to get money, but my money meant that I met with people. Without meeting people, it meant there's no way I was going to make money because I was doing documentaries that required moving from office to office. Here I am. I've been a journalist. I mean, I had an idea I could move the way I wanted, but here I am reduced to nothing. I am a nobody, back to zero. In simple terms, I could not move because I didn't have any documentation that showed, oh, I'm actually a journalist working with so-and-so. So it was quite hard, but I persevered through all the hard times, and here we are, things are better.
And in that period, could it be one of the hardest moments in your life?
Not entirely, because I've had quite hard moments before during the days of school. My relatives did what they could, though sometimes I felt like it wasn't enough. But I do appreciate them for what they did for me. I would never take that for granted. Every day I pray to God to give me more money so that I can take care of them, because they really did what they could. I mean, I needed more, but that's what they could. They had nothing else to do. But I kind of used to feel alone. There's certain things that I really wanted while in school that I could not get in time. And I think that was hard for me.
Yeah.
And because, again, it wasn't like 1 year. This COVID and whole jobless situation was for 1 year. But my childhood, of course, my parents did, or my relatives did what they could. But there are times I felt like I needed more, but I could not do anything but just live with what was available. I didn't go to good schools, unfortunately. I went to very poor schools. I went to UPE, a product of UPE.
And you've turned out right.
Yeah. Like a small English I speak. That's where I got it from. But, of course, UPE, USE of those days was better than the one of today. Because then teachers... Yeah, that's why I'm here. I mean, I'm the product of UPE.
By of those days, what do you mean? How many years? Which year is that?
Early 2000, late 1990.
They were straight to the point.
They had something.
Okay.
They really told us. That's why I'm here, able, and I can speak some small good English. Yeah. After UPE, I went to USE, Universal Secondary Education. Free, we know when everything is for free. Teachers teach when they want. Everybody does whatever they want. But like I told you, I was this person who always wanted to be on top. I don't know how God led me to people that really motivated me. We used to compete for position 1 in class. And I would probably either become 1 or number 2 with my friends. So that was it for me.
And you're here in the market. You're competing tightly.
Competing better or even more than people who went to better schools.
That's right.
Again, I'm not bragging. I'm just
you have the right to brag, my friend.
No, I'm telling them the truth.
You have a right to brag.
Yeah, because
you're bragging right.
I sit on table with people who went to better schools, better universities. I've never been to a university. I went to a journalism school, a college of sorts, and I'm okay.
Fist pump.
So I'm not proud that I didn't go to university. All I'm trying to say is I think it's just been God guiding me throughout the steps. Of course, I'm now looking at advancing my education. But again, I've been a little bit laid back because it's not like I'm looking for a job or something. I just want to go there, have my papers and keep them at home.
As an adult, what is that moment that you felt like, I'm not surviving this?
Maybe the day I got a heartbreak.
Oh.
Yeah.
Relationship.
Yes.
Specifically.
I fell in love with beautiful woman. Trust me when I tell you she was beautiful. She was beautiful not just from the outside, but inside as well. And trust me, she was good. So I fell in love and we spent like a year and so. And unfortunately, we broke up. It really hurt me. I remember growing small and that people could physically notice. Part of my success was because of that heartbreak, actually.
Oh, yeah? What happened?
I had to work very hard because I wanted to prove a point, unfortunately, which I can't do now. But nothing really happened. She left the country, communication kind of died, and so we called it off. But trust me, I was hurt because we had a lot of plans together. But I don't regret. God does his things. I'm now a happily married man.
Yeah.
My wife loves me. I love her so very much. And I don't think...
And you're not scared to preface that. I've been seeing that. And I'm like, yo, this is different. On social media where people are like, it will end in tears, don't show off and all those things.
Whether you show... Somebody said, when you speak, you die. When you don't speak, you still die. So you show... you break up. When you don't show, you still break up. Like, break up is not... Like there's no room, there's no rule to break up and long living together. Long living together is a combination of a lot of things that involve two different people come together with the same goal of staying together and they work towards that. Trust me. Even if you showed your woman or your man, if they are not to stay with you, they won't stay with you. And even if you hit them, if they are not to stay with you, they won't stay with you. And I keep telling people, not everybody showing off on social media is actually sad in private. No. Yeah. Some people are actually having the best lives. You know, they are happy in real life and they're happy on social media. We are happy both on social media and off social media. If one day, God forbid, I break up with Tracy, it will be because of our indifferences. Probably we fail to make up certain things, and that is okay. Yeah. If we break up, we've broken up. It's part of life. So life has to be lived. People want us to live in, secrecy.
So there is so much fear happening. Oh my God, these comments. But you've lived above them, and I like that.
I have learned to live with social media. Again, talking about mental health, I think social media is one thing that stimulates depression, I would say, because there are times I post and somebody comments and I'm like, Jesus, I wish I could just get this person in my hands like this, grab them and maybe squeeze them and just do something weird to them because of the comments they do. But over time, I have learned that these are just virtual people. They honestly don't know me. I don't know them. That's how I take it. So I do whatever I do, not for anybody, for myself.
For yourself.
That is why when people are overly commenting, show us your baby's face. I'm like, this is my baby. I choose either to show you his face or not. It is me. It is my social media. I rule it. Even when I was announcing his birth, it was about 4 months after he was born. That's when I said, by the way, God blessed us with a very beautiful baby. Other than that, I think my relationship, what people know about it is just, happy pictures. That's all they know. But like I say, happy pictures are okay. There's usually work in the background that we don't show.
There is work in the background.
Absolutely.
Work. It's very important to highlight.
Yep.
How do you take care of your mental health?
My mental health. You see, when you talk about...
You know what? Now let me be specific. How do you take care of your mental health as someone who is, should I call you an internet person? Like, you're very active and there is so much bile in this environment. So that is one thing that I would wish for you to tackle, and then also generally.
Mental health is very serious. There comes a time when I really feel like I'm breaking down, but people don't see that. I'm actually an introvert. That's something that very many people don't know. I love enjoying my space. I love being indoors, all by myself, and I find that cool. and I'm not lonely, I'm not bored, I'll find something to do because that's who I am. And I have a kind of, I'm both intro
and extra. That's an ambivert.
Exactly. So I'm kind of there. I try to, again, going out and meeting people is just to hide my other introvert kind of life,
Yeah.
But mental health is a very serious case because I've mentally had issues during the time when I broke up with my woman. And then around 2017, I had some issues that happened. Like I got robbed, beaten up. I had issues again. And then around 2020, like I told you, I had left my job and then I had nothing. I was literally building from scratch. So when you talk about mental health, I think I've been a victim, only that I don't let people know about it. And every day, even during the things that I do, I kind of feel like sometimes I'm overworked, I'm overwhelmed. And I just want some space to breathe.
Yeah.
Some space to just think. In fact, I usually tell my wife that we usually have disagreements on this. I'm like, babe, sometimes I actually just drive, go somewhere and sit and just breathe for a moment. And then come like, oh, cool. How do I handle mental health? To be honest, it's something you learn over time.
Yeah.
Over and over and over again. I was talking to you earlier about social media. People have not... I was among those people who wanted to oppose the Computer Misuse Act that was recently passed. But right now, I appreciate it. My only worry is that government is most probably going to use it to crush down its opponents. That's the wrong side of the law. But the law is very good because then it's going to protect some people from being abused, from being, done all sorts of evil. So I do this. Atakulekeda. Tomulekeda. I don't know how to translate that in English, but you give me, I give you. Period. You do this, I do it in equal measures, and we are even. But if I cannot deal with what you're bringing, I have options. There's a block button, there's a delete button, there's a report button. I have used them in recent times so much. I feel good eventually because I can't go through the internet to get you and beat you up. So the best way
we don't want to encourage physical
harm.
Of
course, exactly. And I'm not violent. I don't exercise physical violence. So the best thing I do, I delete you or I block you, and then I feel good. Yeah. Because I know you commented because you follow me, isn't it? I don't follow you. Majority of those guys who comment wrongly are the ones who are just following you probably for the first time or they've got an interest in me. So I'm not saying that I don't take in negative comments. Again, negative. Take, for example, I have posted a picture and maybe my designer shoes are not good. And somebody says, oh, it would have looked better in this design. That's a comment I can take.
Yeah.
I can be like, oh, by the way, he's right or she's right.
That's like
it's a negative
review.
comment, but it's a good one.
Yeah.
But then somebody will come and say something negative that is abusive, something negative that is really, really bad. No. I'm not willing to take that. So for social media, that's how I handle it. And then sometimes I actually go off social media for like a month for my own mental health. It's usually once in a year. I get a month and say, oh, cool. Limited social media.
Have you been able to do that this year?
Yeah. No, I haven't, but I wanted to do it in August. Unfortunately, that's when we were launching.
There is a lot going on.
That's when we were launching Sungura, and I was like, no, I can't.
Exactly.
Because I needed Sungura to be known everywhere on my social account. So I'll either choose December to have intermediate fasting of social media. I'm there, I'm not there. I just come to check messages because it's equally important. That's a form of communication. So I can't entirely just say, I'm off. That's it. No, I can be off maybe for like most parts of the day, only to go there to check messages strictly. If there isn't, I again log out. I don't update my status on WhatsApp because then people will be responding to those comments. I don't check a lot of stuff. All I do is just checking messages, communication, that's all.
And life generally, how do you deal with it?
Life generally, how I deal with it, I just drive, go somewhere, maybe at the beach, alone. And by the way, like I told you, I've had to explain this to my wife so that she understands. I am an introvert. I love my space. That's how I function well. It is funny, but I love working in the night when the entire world is asleep. And then I sleep during day. My brains have learned to be creative more at night. And it's something that she has had to accept because, well, this is a time when you're supposed to be sleeping and then boom, you want to work. Kind of feel creative at night. So I've learned to create space for myself where I go somewhere and just chill, maybe for a day or two, eat good food, get exposed to beautiful environments, birds, swimming pool, and all that for a day or two. And then I'm back. I'm a man. In Africa, men are not supposed to. That's how we were raised.
They're
much
not
as, of
supposed
course,
to do
it's
what?
wrong.
They're not supposed to do
Men
what?
are not supposed to break down.
No, it's no.
That's why I'm saying.
Doesn't work.
That's why I'm saying that's what we were. But I have always encouraged men. You see, if you feel you're breaking down, accept it. Break down. If you need to cry, cry. It is okay. It is overly okay. You are a human being. Okay. Men spend half, if not 3/4 of their lives hustling, working tirelessly for their families, but they do not think about themselves. And that's something I want to change. If I spend 1 million shillings on my wife, okay, I may not spend 1 million, but I'll get like a 500K, go somewhere, eat good food, sleep well, take care of myself. We don't take care of ourselves. We're always on the road, hustling, getting money, making ends meet. And you cannot cry, you cannot break down, you cannot say you don't have money. I'm not saying men should be lazy to all the time say that, but if at all you've been working very hard and things are not working, it is okay, accept it. Because then you're literally putting everything on your head. Relax, take a break. It is okay to take a break.
Yeah.
And that's what I do. So I take a break. You have Sungura House here pestering you. You have the farm. You have your family.
Yeah.
You have social media.
Yeah.
I have other things I do. You have this other client.
There's music coming up.
There's
there's a movie you're going to.
There's a movie that exactly. You now see. There's a movie that I'm supposed to attend to. This group of people require my attention, require my input. So in simple terms, I am working. I'm dealing with really a lot. So when time comes, I break down. And I'm like, no, I need something. Then I take a break of a day or two. I first relax, and then eventually I get back on track.
What message would you love the listener to walk away with? People, what
Of
they
my
can
age?
walk away of your age?
Of my age or anybody
Do people
else?
know? Do people know your age?
Okay. Life is all you can make it. Everything is possible if you believe and work towards it. You can be a doctor. You can be a judge. You can be a president. And by the way, you didn't even speak of my political ambitions. I'm coming in 2026.
Yes, I heard. I remember. I read
So in
about it.
2026, I'm coming to Parliament, and I'm not failing. I have to go to Parliament. I am going to Parliament. I am in Parliament. I'm already a member of Parliament. So confess it, and it definitely shall be. Always look at the positives. Look at positive things.
Yeah.
Say good things about yourself, because nobody else will. As a matter of fact, if only people knew that we are here for a very limited time, they would not spend even a minute on anything negative. Me? Finding me sad? I don't know. I think I just choose to be sad. But if not, no. I'm always happy. Why? Is because we're just here for a moment, honestly speaking. I don't know when I'm going to die, but I pray to God each and every day. Can you please take me to 90 so that I see all my dreams come to pass?
Yeah.
But if people knew that life is very short, live it to the fullest, they would stop
Procrastinating.
Whatever that word is. I'm going to practice the next time I come here. I'll definitely be pronouncing it very, very perfectly. So people need to stop doing that. They need to grab whatever they want to do. Do not listen to anybody who tells you cannot do it, because you can actually do it. God, in his infinite or in his utmost wisdom, created all of us equal. Whether you're lame, whether you're blind, we are all equal, and we have the capacity and the ability to do exceedingly well in life, okay? If you've been wanting to become a journalist, it is very possible. If somebody can become a journalist without going to school, how about you who is in school? So ensure that you just do what is supposed to be done to get where you want to be. Change how you see things. If you cannot see something in your head, then it can never come to pass. If you wake up in the morning and say, I feel sick, trust me, you're going to fall sick.
Yeah.
If you start feeling sick and say, no, I'm not sick, you won't feel sick. So everything starts from the brain. Whatever you feed your brain, make sure that you become selective of the things that you take in your head, in your mental space, okay? You need to get some people that are older, much older than you. So over time, I have learned, I listen to older persons. I sit down with them. I tell them my dreams. And somebody will be like, oh, by the way, that's good. But you're going to crash here because they've had experience in life. Enough experience. Of course, not every older person can give you good advice.
That is important to highlight.
But also, you need to know somebody. You need to get somebody who is religiously higher than you, somebody who is financially higher than you, somebody who is relationship-wise. So have those about set of people for somebody whom you can run to when you need advice financially, need probably religious issues, or whichever issues, find somebody you can run to. It could be one person or two people that you run to, older persons. Could be your dad, your mom, your auntie, if your dad's friend that you probably feel comfortable telling them certain things that you may not be comfortable telling your father. You understand?
That's right.
Find somebody who is a little bit older than you because they understand things in a more different way and they've had experience. I usually tell people that before you start something, Go do some background check so that you don't make mistakes. You see, we are making a lot of mistakes. So for you to avoid mistakes is part of life, but you can try to limit the consequences out of those mistakes. So do that, read a lot, learn a lot. But the most important thing, trust God.
Trust God.
You can do whatever I've said, but if you don't trust God, you're nothing.
How did people get to Rabbit Meat?
Rabbit Meat, we are located in Bukoto, Bukoto Chisasi Road, immediately after the traffic lights. It's called Sungura House. You'll just see Sungura. We are opposite Kabira Country Club.
Opposite
on the Bukoto Chisasi Road. Chisasi, you don't reach Orex, the other side, no. Just immediately after the traffic lights, we are on the left.
And phone numbers?
0700675952. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Denis Duke Uganda or Sungura House. That is it.
Thank you so much. My biggest highlight in this conversation is how important it is for us to have a change in mindset when it comes to chasing the dreams or goals or anything that we want to achieve, including healing. Thank you so much for tuning into another episode of Hashtag We Love Guzichwanuka. If you loved what you heard, make sure you subscribe to Hashtag We Love Guzichwanuka in your podcast platform of choice and share it with your friends, loved ones, and everyone that you believe is affected by the millennial world around us. Also, feel free to share your insights about what connected with you on social media and be sure to tag us. We are at Hashtag We Love Guzichwanuka on Facebook and Instagram, and on Twitter, our handle is at HTNK Podcast. If you are in Uganda, Kenya, or Nigeria and are in need of someone to speak to in as far as your mental health is concerned, do not hesitate to reach out on my email, navguzi@navguzichwanuka.com. I would be very happy to pair you with the right persons. Catch you next week, and until then, remember to change your mindset.